Okay, so are you ready to start this thing again?
Let's do it.
Okay, so hi, I'm James,
And I'm Jordan.
and we put together a video a few days back to compare the two powerhouse DCC systems in the United States.
Was it a few days ago or was it right now?
It was a few days ago.
I guess the idea was a few days old.
The idea was a few days old, but it always takes some refinement, right?
Right. And a few beers.
Yeah, and a few beers. And it's not like this hasn't been done before. We're just kind of adding to the pile on this topic.
Oh yeah, this
but
has
people
been done
want
to
know.
death. Right.
Yeah, people want to know.
Right.
And it's good to do this every now and then, too.
Exactly.
I mean, we'll probably do another thing like this in a couple of years if we're still doing this.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and who knows? Maybe we'll be doing two completely different systems, or we'll still just be running the good old Digitrax versus NCE debate.
I will have gone completely with ESU, so I will look like a German millennial or something with like the dyed hair.
With the round glasses.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd be talking like this.
Yep. No offense to ESU, they make a wonderful product.
Yeah.
I love their decoders, and I am really liking their system.
Yes.
I've seen their stuff that they have at the show. They had it at the show in Denver.
Yeah, Rocky Mountain Train Show this spring. That was a fantastic demo that they did.
And in 1 year, they haven't changed a lot, but they've just started to make some changes that are making it really interesting.
But in any case, we're not here to talk about ESU, although I think we're going to end up both being fanboys of the system eventually, and we're just going to...
It could happen.
Yeah. It's going to be like a Porsche owners club, but for DCC.
Right, but when we come back to the Andover Junction layout, we're still probably going to be running the same old Digitrax system.
Well, so anyway, NCE and Digitrax. Like I said, they're the two powerhouse systems in the United States for DCC. Most model railroaders, I think, end up choosing one or the other if they're going to go DCC. I feel comfortable saying that.
Yeah.
Majority can be 51%, let's say. So
Yeah.
I got a lot of room for error. But this is also a statewide difference as well, because we have, for those of you who don't know, South Dakota is culturally divided between East River and West River by the Missouri River running right down the center.
Mm-hmm.
And we all hate Pierce, so that's fine.
Yep.
But what state doesn't hate its own capital, right? So,
Right.
Anyway, the West River guys tend to use the NCE systems.
So if you look at the BHRS layout in Rapid City, or the museum layout in Hill City is also set up to run
And
NCE
a lot
part of the time.
Yes, and everybody's personal layouts, more or less, from what I've seen.
I think that a lot of what'll set up what system people will use is also somewhat related to what their local club uses. So here in East River, South Dakota, if you go to just about any club around here, I've been a member of the James Valley Club for a long time, and that's the one in Aberdeen, and they have run Digitrax DCC since probably about as long as DCC's been a thing. They've had their DCC system there, always run Digitrax. I've run Digitrax. All my layouts that I've had, they're Digitrax. So it's what I've gotten used to.
And then us in West River, I think it's more or less the same story. People just started using NCE, and then when the club came about, I think the club's just a little bit older than DCC, but not by much.
Well, the DCC at the BHRS was a pretty recent thing.
I suppose they did only do that, what, maybe 15, 16 years ago?
Yeah, and it's kind of a thing, too. It's seen a lot of times if you're going to start something from scratch and you've never really done much with DCC before, it seems that NCE is where people will gravitate towards.
Sure. But then let's say you want to get into more technical aspects of DCC, or if you want like a better radio control, I'd say, that's where you end up going with Digitrax.
Right.
So the good news on this video is, this, even though this topic has been done to death, neither of us, I think, are really fanboys of one system or the other. I think we're both capable of seeing the strengths and weaknesses of each.
Right. And I will say right now, this is not one of the new Digitrax throttles. This is one of the ye old DT402R simplex radio throttles. I've had one for probably 15 years or more, and it's finally starting to get a little long in the teeth. So I managed to find another one of these guys for $95, I think it was, down in Denver. Still good. Still throw a 9-volt battery in, and it works on infrared, works on radio. It's a great little throttle. So I've always been happy with these. I haven't really seen a need to upgrade, but I have seen the new throttles, and they've got some really nice features too.
Yep. And then I have it the NCE Power Cab, which is kind of the basic starter set that you get. And I bought this used off of eBay about 4 years ago. So it's probably about the same generation, give or take. Like within 1 or 2 generations,
I would
anyway.
suppose, yeah.
There's been a lot, I think, especially since 2020, a lot of updates, at least on the Digitrax side of things.
For sure.
Like,
They completely overhauled a lot of their equipment that they have now.
Yeah. And we could do a review on that, except I don't know if we have access to the brand new stuff yet.
I mean, I have my new Zephyr, which I do have a lot of good words about that, but
Yeah.
that's a whole nother thing there.
Yep. So, anyway, we got this. It's not so much a versus video, even though that might end up in the title. This is more like a comparison between the two systems. And the idea is that you, the viewer, should be able to pick out from this video which one you think is going to best match your preferences. That makes sense to you?
Makes sense to me.
Okay. So, let's continue. I got my
By
computer.
touching the computer,
Right.
you should make it go to sleep less.
Well, I could real quick.
It's as sleepy as I am.
Well, let's start with, why don't you give us an overview on the metrics then, Jordan?
Right. Metrics.
We got 5 different things here we're going to compare them to.
Right. Let's do that once we get this
Okay,
figured.
fine. Display. I don't know why the thing
But we
wants
ain't
to-
gonna do a straight cut on this video. Y'all are gonna be asleep,
Oh, we'll be okay.
like me, in about a half hour.
It's just the production quality. What I'll
Right.
actually do is I will keep the audio, and then I'm going to splice it in with, like, rotation.
Put it on a turntable.
Yes, you can
Yeah,
see
we can
each throttle.
mount it on my turntable and watch it go
Yes.
around.
Personalization, maybe.
Sleep settings.
Yeah, probably that.
There you go. No. Go down.
Almost there.
Oh, screen sleep and hibernate timeouts. That's what you want.
Yep.
Boom.
Okay, 3 minutes. Turn my...
Let's fix that.
Let's do 45 minutes.
There we go. This video
Yes.
shouldn't go this long.
45-minute video discussing
This
2
is
outdated
torture.
systems.
This is torture for everyone.
Like I said, I'm going to keep the audio in because, like I said, in the meantime, this thing's just going to be spinning around in a circle for each
Right.
throttle.
We'll
for
have
like,
it like hanging from a ceiling and with like a starry night background.
Yep. Or maybe I will cut it. Who knows? I'll
Yeah.
figure that out in editing. Okay.
Right.
So anyway, we got
We could just like hang it and go round
pretty much.
and
It's on
round.
fishing line.
Yeah, it works.
Okay. So we got 5 different metrics that we can compare these two systems by, and I think these are going to be the most important ones. There's all kinds of little nitty-gritty details you could get into,
Oh
but
yeah.
that would in fact make the video 45 minutes long. We're aiming for like 10
Yes.
to 15, let's say.
We're trying to just fix your Google search here if you want the basics.
Yep, so basically we're like one step above AI right now.
Yes. Open James.
Yes. Anyway, so we got 5 different metrics. We got price, we have user interface, we got capabilities, we got the system expansion options, and then we got the external capabilities. And I think just on the little bit that we've done for prep on this video that it turns out these two are pretty comparable to each other, really.
Oh yeah, their performance is dang near identical.
Yeah. It's just that you got 2 completely different looks to them.
Right.
Which we'll get into.
Totally different UI.
Yeah. So let's first start with the price. And I think what should be discussed in terms of price is that you have different options out there for each company on the different systems you could do.
Right.
Now, in your case, Jordan, you got the Digitrax Zephyr as your command station, right?
Right. That is the brains of my model railroad. It is a medium-sized railroad that's filling a room that's, what is it, 17 by 15 foot. Goes all the way
Yep.
around the walls. Has a full staging yard and everything. I'm not shutting off tracks, so I've got power to it all the time. And that little command station it'll do just fine unless I have 9 engines running in a circle at full throttle. Then I kind of start to run into some issues. But that's what the booster's for, and I haven't even gotten a chance to put that in yet.
Right, so you're running straight Digitrax Zephyr, and that's caps out at what, like 2 amps or something?
Something like that. It's pretty mellow, but it'll still run just about anything you want.
And then, so I looked at it, street price for a Digitrax Zephyr set, you're looking at about $200 brand new, give or take.
Which is really reasonable for what you get.
Yeah, considering that like a DC throttle is, what, $80, $90 right now?
Uh-huh. Now, when you switch to DCC, you're gonna have the decoders. You're gonna have all the other little bits that you're gonna be putting in. It is a lot of expense, but it is totally worth it. It turns your model railroad from, well, arguably a train set from that into a real working model railroad.
And I'd say first piece of consumer advice there is that if you're gonna do DCC, try to get into DCC as early as you can. If you're starting out in the hobby, it's much easier to upgrade one engine at a time or just buy them DCC equipped to begin with than to have to go back and redo an entire fleet like a lot of us have to.
Yeah, well, and even to this day, I'll go and I'll pick up a locomotive and I'll have it ripped apart.
Yep.
And it'll be in pieces for years before I get around to putting it back together. Sometimes don't be crazy like me and just get that engine that has the DCC in it. It's worth that extra price you pay.
So alongside that, the NCE Power Cab, officially $250, and I think it's about the same for the Digitrax Zephyr, but street price, again, you're looking at $200. I got $199 written down. So for all intents and purposes, the two starter systems are pretty much identical in terms of price, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree.
Now, that being said, there is a difference, a major difference we'll get into between the two starter systems. But let's also mention then the higher end stuff. So a lot of the starter sets for DCC I have seen over the years have been consolidated. NCE used to have like 8 different options available. Now they got about 3.
Right.
And Digitrax is kind of the same thing. Really, they only have 2 plus a radio option.
Well, and Digitrax also has multiple different forms of radio. Like what I'm running on this throttle is kind of an outdated form of radio. They used to have the infrared. They still have infrared. Then they had the simplex radio, which was a basic form of radio. Then they switched to the duplex radio, which is expensive, but it does work really good.
So then in terms of price, this is where you see a big difference in upfront cost between the two systems. So if you got a bigger model railroad that requires a lot more amperage, you're going to need something that's a little bit better than a power cab or a Zephyr. So the price difference then, I was surprised at how different it really ended up being. So you have what's called the Evolution Express, which, do you have much personal experience with it?
I have not personally. Most of my DCC knowledge and experience is working
On the
with
older.
Well, it's working with my Zephyr and
Right.
just making sure that thing is stretched out like it needs to be. Basically, what you're getting with those bigger sets is you get a big booster that can drive the whole layout. The Zephyr is a booster and throttle combo along with some other things built into it that make it really kind of a nice little power package. But as far as I know, the top-end NCE system that you'll see it's that same thing. It's a booster, and it's their wiring the throttles and the ports to plug into.
Yeah, so you got 2 comparable systems, and that's kind of the next step up from the base systems. And as starter sets go, that's kind of the limit as to what you're able to do. So you can add on other things, but for what you get in the box, what you're looking at is going to be a throttle and a booster and a command station. All in their own pieces, and they're modular. You can swap them out,
and you can add more to it. You can build on. You can make that system as big as you want. There's great big layouts, and they'll run one DCC system that runs it all.
So then these next starter sets, and we're just comparing the price on these two since we don't have them available to us. 470 bucks for the Evolution Express, and that's no radio option. That's basically like not what you have, but it would be the plug-in with the tether that you have to go to a jack for. The NCE equivalent though is $800.
Yeah.
And they're comparable in amperage. I believe it's like 5 amp versus a 5 amp slash 8 amp.
Okay.
So you do get maybe a little bit more amperage with the Digitrax if you get the right option. But otherwise, they're pretty comparable as far as their features. And yet, NCE's just got this dramatic price increase.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing to consider too, is that if upfront cost is an issue, the Digitrax system might be better for you if you can start with like the Evolution Express and just kind of start building it out from there.
Yeah.
At least that's what I gather.
Well, one other thing that is interesting to note is from our research, well, an NCE proudly has it on a big banner on their website. Their equipment is pretty much U.S. made. A lot of these cottage industries that do things like DCC, which Digitrax is a pretty big company, but not that big of a company. Same thing with NCE. They said on their page they got 10 employees. Their stuff is made in the U.S., which is really nice. You know, most of the stuff we have in this hobby is imported, but not DCC systems, at least not these.
Yeah, so cottage industry, I think, describes it pretty well, just the whole model train industry as a whole, really. Because the numbers of model trains compared to the whole economy is just
pretty
ridiculous.
Tiny.
Yeah, it's an infinitesimally small percentage.
It's just big enough of a hobby that people take note of it, and that's about it.
So, price-wise, on the basic starter systems, I think they're in a dead heat as far as price goes. But when you get into the more advanced stuff, I do think the Digitrax starts to become a little bit more budget-friendly. And there's trade-offs to that, but keep that in mind. So we're going to give the point there to Digitrax, I think.
All right.
You agree to that?
I agree with that.
Okay. Now for user interface.
Okay, so I guess we can start here with the Digitrax. Now, like I said, they've changed their throttle design now. It's not like this anymore. But a lot of the elements are the same. Biggest thing you'll see in the older Digitrax throttles is this thing is a rectangle. It's a prism. I mean, there's not much to it. It just sits in your hand, and it fits nice. I mean, it probably wouldn't give you carpal tunnel unless you were using it all day, every day. But one of the big advantages that I like having run NCE and Digitrax is you have two throttles on here. NCE's got a recall button. You can switch between them, but you can't control two different trains at the same time. On the Digitrax, you have your number one train and your number two train, and you can look at them and you can be running two trains and see their speed, see every single thing about them, except for the functions you have turned on. That's only if you select one or the other. But that information is there, which is a really nice feature.
Yep, well, and I would also mention, too, whenever I've ran Digitrax using Steam, what I really like is instead of having the Steam hooked up and you got everything running in sync with each other, they're all speed matched, having the two throttles means that you can adjust the Steam engines independently, and then you can get the difference in how the decoders are sounding when they're pushing against each other, pulling against each other. It's a lot more, I think, realistic experience if you're running Steam.
Well, and the other thing, too, is if you're running a railroad and you want to do like the big timers and you want to have a helper engine, just like with the Steam, if you want to have a helper engine shoving on the back of the train, it makes way more sense to have two throttles rather than just clicking a button and jumping back and forth. You can do it, but it makes way more sense ergonomically to have those two throttles until you mix them up and you have a wreck, but normally that doesn't happen. It only happens about once a session.
Yeah, and then, for instance, like on a more modest layout like yours, you can have one train running continuously while you're doing switching operations with the other train.
Right.
But you have easy access to both trains at once, whereas the NCE throttle, there's a little bit more
It's a little bit slower.
It's not too bad, really. Once you get used to it, it's kind of like learning the command sequence for a cheat code in a video game or something.
Right.
It's only a couple of buttons though.
Up, down, down, left, right.
Yeah, only it's like 2 buttons.
69.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Now, the Digitrax throttle has changed significantly, and I think it's integrated a few more elements from the NCE throttle.
Definitely has.
They got the soft touch buttons. They still have the 2 dials that are right there.
They're great big dials now.
However, their LCD screen is a lot bigger from what I've seen. It's like a third of the throttle.
Backlit.
Yeah,
so it looks really nice.
It's much better.
Now, I have noticed, at least on my Zephyr, I don't know how the handheld throttles are. Some of the software coding is kind of weird. Sometimes a menu will not completely exit out. You'll have like a little line going through and be wondering, well, what the heck is this about? But I'm able to pretty much get around it. It's just kind of more annoying than anything else when you would have a polished product that has that issue.
Yep.
But that could be fixed by now, as far as I know. I haven't had any software updates done on my Zephyr.
Yeah, totally possible. And then, so NCE, though, when you're talking about throttles, the good news about NCE is that it really hasn't changed in the 20-odd years they've been in operation with the system. So you've got these soft touch buttons that are really nice. They do wear out eventually, but buttons wear out. That's just a
it
thing.
happens.
Eventually your throttle will wear out.
Well, that's just like the throttle on the Digitrax will wear out over time.
Now, one feature I do like on the throttle is that you've got this speed thumb wheel right in the middle, whereas the Digitrax is a dial that you have to spin. But it's very intuitive to just have your thumb on that constantly adjusting speed as you're running. Now, the trade-off to that is I don't have 2 thumb wheels. I only got the one, so I have to be able to switch between them. And you do have the buttons where you can increase and decrease fast on this side.
Yep.
And then on the other side, you have just 1-step increase and decrease.
Okay, so I want to make a comment on that.
Yeah.
That is an awesome feature, and here's why. When I'm running, I love to do prototype operations. My trains are set up well. James knows pretty well. When I'm running, my trains take a solid 2-3 minutes to get up to speed and about a solid another 2 minutes to stop from full speed. I like running prototype. And when you're doing that, a real locomotive doesn't really have a spinny throttle. It's got a notch throttle, 8 notches. And if you're using those increase fast and decrease fast, it behaves almost like a notch throttle, which is really nice. You can, when I'm running my ESU locomotives on my BNSF trains, I can hit that increase fast button and everything notches up 1. Vice versa when I go down. I really like that feature. I wish there was something like that on the Digitrax.
And then moving down on the buttons too, I think another big feature is that while your throttle, especially the old one, has just symbols that you kind of have to work out. It's got, Digitrax has its own language of hieroglyphics.
Got a bell, whistle, coupler. That's debatable. There ain't too many that do the coupler. I guess they do. I just like to have my rear headlight on that button.
If you're dumb like me and tech illiterate, my throttle just has the words written out over the buttons for most of the stuff that I want. I have horn/whistle, bell, headlight, option, recall, emergency stop. Like, they took the time to write emergency stop on the big red octagon button that clearly means stop.
Right.
So they wanted to make it as easy as possible where you could just glance at it and know where things are.
Exactly. Well, and there is some philosophy behind that, which we aren't going to go into, industrial design philosophy. But sometimes I got to diverge into this because I did go to school for industrial engineering. There is reasoning behind symbols and letters for things, but I just can't remember it right now. I'd have to do a Google search.
I think you do. Once you pick it up, it's much easier to read it. However, if you're the kind of person that's not used to symbols on all those things, like let's say you're used to the old MRC throttles where they got like the 8 different slide switches and they tell you what each one does.
Yeah.
That kind of format, you don't get an instinct as to what switch does what, because you got like 6 identical switches that all feel the same. But if you glance and you can read it, then it's pretty easy to figure out. So user interface, honestly, I feel like you have to give that to the power cab as far as like just being able to hold it. Like, look at this hammerhead design. It's like a
Yeah.
TV remote. It's perfect.
It'll perch right in your hand. It's
Yep.
not a brick.
Yeah.
I do like that.
And you got bevels on the back side of the throttle too, so it cups into your hand. You can hold it like that really easily. Some people, like Dave over at the club, he's got his own lanyard system that's tied onto that too. And then the wireless throttle is all of just an antenna sticking out of it. That's it. And then the cord comes out of the bottom. I found it very easily to hold with one hand, unplug. I can just pin it with my thumb, and now it's one-handed. I unpin it, plug it in, we're good. The Digitrax, I feel like you try doing that too much, like with a tethered throttle, it's harder to keep hold of it because you don't have that ergonomic feel.
Well, yeah, that is true, because I have dealt with that. But the biggest problem with both of these is this dang little tab. This tab, it always breaks off on these. That's how I know this is a new throttle, because this tab is still intact. My other one lasted about 6 months. That's about how long they last on all of these.
And unfortunately, if there was a way to improve it, it would be to switch to a different plug system. However, they do that intentionally because the parts are cheap.
Right.
So, and you can easily replicate them. Like Valve, for instance, I think it's basically his part-time job to
replacing throttle cables for the BHRS.
That part of user interface, I feel, is just a wash between the two because that's just the standard that they have.
Right.
Now, these Wi-Fi things we're starting to get into, that's going to be, I think, a game changer once they're fully developed. Like, I think they're not in their infancy, but they're kind of at the toddler phase. It's starting to walk and run, but they're not quite there yet.
Right. Well, and there's I can't remember what plugs into the NCE, but Digitrax has a box that you can plug into your LocoNet system. That's the system that all these plug into and goes around. NCE's got their own system that's just like that too. It will run on Wi-Fi. You can run trains right off your phone.
So, user interface, would you agree the NCE gets at least the edge to it?
Certainly. I would give it to them pretty heavily, honestly.
Yeah, especially on the old stuff. I think the new throttles, we'll have to do a comparison one day when we find somebody in the state that has that.
Yeah, someday when I'm rich and I have my new Digitrax throttle.
It's odd that in the entire state of South Dakota, I have yet to see somebody rocking the brand new one.
Yeah, we have them in Aberdeen.
Okay, well, we'll have to get back there and look at it sometime.
Right.
So, okay, user interface, NCE.
Okay.
So, now we got capabilities, and I think this is where Digitrax really runs away with it.
Yes. So, I have done, I've got my Digitrax Zephyr. It's the DCS 52. It's the newest one. It's the one you can still buy now. And the biggest thing that I really liked in the capabilities, now like I said, this is your entry-level system. You got your throttle, you got your reverse or whatever. They've always been the same how those are set up. But there is one thing that's really nice with that system is you can plug JMRI right into the system. You don't need to buy any external equipment. Now, and that's if you're really big computer nerd, whatever, or if you just want to really take your model railroading to the next step. JMRI is awesome. It's old, it's been around forever, but they're still working on it, they're still updating it, and it's totally free. All you need is a printer cable that you plug into that system.
And now what that means is, since you can hook that thing up to a computer, that Digitrax system is fully programmable to you.
Yes.
Like, it's completely open. I think you could, in theory, do that with NCE.
You can. They do have a system,
but
they have a piece.
But I think it's a little bit more complicated than just using an open source software that's been in development for however long.
Yeah. About as long as these throttles have been around.
Yep. And then the NCE system, so it could do that, but I don't think I've ever really heard of somebody taking the NCE system to its max potential. Somebody, I'm sure, did it somewhere, but I haven't heard about it.
Well, we'll find out pretty quick.
Yeah, somebody will put it in a comment saying, I did this, and this at the NCE.
And I totally believe you.
And I believe you
and
as
I
well.
want to see it.
Yes, but please send us a video or something.
Yeah, because I would really like to see, most of the stuff I've seen is with Digitrax. Like I said, I really like what NCE has. I really want to see how far you can stretch one of those systems out, too.
Now, as far as, let's say, amperage or whatever else, I feel like they're pretty equal because they both have, what, 5 and 10 amp booster that you could get. And then you can just daisy chain those up, or you can put them in districts.
Right.
I'm sure somebody's gone crazy and just did their own booster that's just like house wiring step down or something.
Yeah. There is one capability that I have to give to the NCE system. I love it. I guess I don't use it a whole lot, but for most people who are running diesels or well, even some steam, it's an awesome upgrade, or it's an awesome feature that they have that the Digitrax does not have at all, unless they've changed that recently. I haven't seen it. So you can do an advanced consist in NCE the easy way.
Yep.
All you got to do is you go in when you're going to set up your consist, and there is a... They don't call it advanced, do they? I can't remember.
Yeah, they have it advanced.
Okay, they call it an advanced consist. There's two consists. You can do the old style where the system does the lifting, or you can do the new style
where you match CVs and all that other.
It's CV19.
Yep.
CV19 changes everything, the horn, the bell, the headlights, all that stuff, so the engine's notch up, notch down altogether, just like real ones would. That's the capability of the advanced consist, and it does all of that on its own. You don't have to do anything else. The Digitrax, the only consisting it offers is the old style consisting. To my knowledge, that's the only style it has. To do an advanced consist, which pretty much all of my diesels, I run advanced consists, and I go really crazy with them, where I can unlink a DPU helper from the front and move it around if I want to do that. I do that all through CV19, or I do it on my Loc programmer. I've got lots of ESU decoders. So I do that quite a bit. But I've got to do that just by changing that CV19. I can't just say, I want this locomotive I pulled out of the yard to be the leader in my consist. I can't do that.
Yep.
Like you can with the NCE.
That's true. That being said, I do feel like the capabilities of Digitrax are still a lot better than NCE as far as like what you're capable of doing.
Right.
In sum total, like think of all the different things you could do with the DCC system. Digitrax, I feel like covers 9 out of 10 of those boxes.
Right. Well, once you plug in that JMRI, you can do that advanced consist
the
right
world's
now.
your oyster.
Yes.
And like you said, you could do that with NCE, but I feel like it's not quite the same kind of interface and might not work quite as well.
Right. The JMRI is the same. It's just how you do it, what kind of hardware you need is a little bit different, a little bit more.
So maybe learning curve's probably different on that anyway. So capabilities, I got to give that to Digitrax. I don't think you're really going to make an argument otherwise on that.
Yeah, I would agree with
now,
that.
We've blown well past the initial time on this, but that's okay.
Yeah,
it's a good discussion. The good news is these next final 2 items, I think we can cover pretty quickly.
Right.
So up next here, we got system expansion. And I feel like you gotta give the expandability just a hair's edge, like a hair's width edge to NCE on this.
Okay, explain.
Okay, so with NCE, you start out with the power cab, right? Let's say you want to expand. All you gotta do is you just buy the other starter set. All of a sudden, this becomes another walk-around throttle. You can take your pocket with the other powered-up jack. You can throw that on a programming track, keep it completely separate. You're not going to have any crossover between current and programming and all that other issues that you could have.
Right.
But again, you got your portable throttle you can take with you. You got your home throttle. You can add new throttles easy enough. If you want to do cell phone, you can just go buy a Wi-Fi track. Wi-Fi tracks.
It'll plug right in.
It's made in Australia, plugs right in, works beautifully.
Yep.
So that's going to be kind of where I'm going with the NCE as far as system expansion, is that it's just both systems are fully modular, I think. However, the NCE, I think, gives you a little bit more flexibility as to how you use the throttles.
Right. I mean, I would say it's kind of a horse apiece between the two. I mean, each throttle that you have is, you can run the trains or you can program the trains. Doesn't really matter which one you got. You can expand the Digitrax system just as well. You can keep on adding boosters like I intend to do on my own layout. If you don't have the amps, you can do it. If you want more LocoNet, I mean, they got LocoNet in all different sizes. So for me, I feel like it's kind of a horse apiece.
Well, and on your, let's say, a home layout, maybe with the Digitrax Zephyr, there's probably not really that much of a difference between the two systems as far as expansion.
Mm-hmm.
But what I could see is, let's say you got a big basement layout and it's an upgrade from the thing that you had in the corner of the bedroom.
Right.
That Zephyr, I feel like, even though you can use it as a throttle, it's limited because you're not going to walk around with a freaking Zephyr in your hands.
No.
It's still de facto a command station, even if all the tech is still in its own brains somewhere else.
Right. Yeah, you don't get to walk around right away.
Yep, and NCE has a similar setup to the really cheap DCC system. You could get like the twin starter system, but that's got limited programming. But it's essentially just a box you have to place on a shelf somewhere, and there's your throttle.
Right.
The reason why I feel it's not that popular of a system is because you can't just add boosters and throttles and all this, and all of a sudden you have this walk-around throttle you can take everywhere.
Right.
This thing, I can take it from my home layout to the club layout, no problem. Right. Like the Digitrax Zephyr, once you expand it, it's still got to stay in its spot.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So there's my logic behind it.
Okay.
Now, maybe that's one of those deals where it depends on the person. To some people, it doesn't matter, and to other people, it matters a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Aberdeen club layout. Could you imagine if it started with the Digitrax Zephyr? You're always going to have this throttle that's just stuck at staging that you can't
one
move
master
anywhere.
throttle, yeah. I mean, yeah, that does make sense.
Yep, or the BHRS club layout. Could you imagine if we had the Digitrax Zephyr just sitting right there in front of the Blackhawk yard?
Yep. At the same time, though, you have that Digitrax Zephyr sitting right in front of your yard. Now you can use it to switch with.
I guess, as long as it's within reach. So you got 12 feet.
If you have a Zephyr, always think, where is the best location that I can drop this thing at?
So, but keep in mind, I'm saying like just a hair difference between the two, because otherwise they are functionally the same. The boosters are the same. The command station is the same. Yeah, link them up pretty much the same, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
They both have their radio capabilities. They both have Wi-Fi capabilities, I think, because you can run JMRI Wi-Fi to Digitrax, right? That's a way around that.
I think so.
We'd have to look that up.
I'd have to look that up. I can't confirm that.
I don't think they have a dedicated Digitrax Wi-Fi thing, unless Digitrax makes one, and I'm not aware of it.
Well, they make a Wi-Fi box that you can plug into the system.
Okay, so they have one in-house at least.
Right. I almost bought one, and then I forgot to. Oops. I'll have to do that again.
And then I would also say system expansion, one other advantage to NCE is it's functionally been the same system the entire time, whereas you have the issue of your throttle's outdated. How much stuff would you have to upgrade to get the thing to the current generation of Digitrax?
Well, I'd really have to just upgrade my throttles. They won't work on these throttles anymore, but the new throttles are still LocoNet. They still tie right in to the old stuff.
So somebody getting started, though, I don't think that's really going to matter, because I don't see anybody going out onto eBay buying a 20-year-old Digitrax system and going, perfect.
Yeah. You don't want the early Digitrax. So I've seen one of those systems, and they are not really compatible with the LocoNet and all that.
So really they've had like 3, maybe even 4 big upgrades where there's not really a lot of backwards compatibility with them.
Right. But once they switch to the LocoNet system, they all pretty much work after that. I can take the DT602D, the biggest, baddest throttle that Digitrax makes, as long as I have the duplex radio receiver on my layout, which is another, I can't remember how much it is. It's not cheap. I'd be able to just plug it right into my LocoNet and it would go. Same thing in Aberdeen. They have the ye old LocoNet up there. Plug it in and it'll go.
And now that kind of leads us into the external capabilities.
Okay.
Or compatibilities.
Compatibilities,
capabilities, whatever.
Same thing.
Yeah. Different words, but we're gonna pretend they're the same because it's too late to argue otherwise.
It's 11:30. No.
Yeah, we're gonna get this wrapped up. So, if I'm giving the hair's advantage to NCE as far as expansion goes, I feel like Digitrax, then it would be only fair to give them the external compatibilities. Because you
Yeah.
got the advantage of you can do the JMRI, you got all
Mm-hmm.
these other products that I'm not too aware of, but
Yeah, there's some stuff. Well, and one other thing that we should have mentioned before, and we didn't, is like switch machines, switch
mhm.
decoders, and stuff like that. Digitrax is kind of the better one of the two.
Yep.
Um,
And I would
the,
agree.
the
Like decoder wise, NCE, it's okay, but it's not the
right.
greatest.
Well, the what they got going on at the BHRS is really interesting. Is they have a full NCE system that runs all the trains, but they also have a full Digitrax system that is, and it's not really totally operational, but it runs block detectors. Because let's see, the NCE runs the switch machines.
Yep.
The Digitrax runs all the block detectors, and it also is set up for signal systems. Digitrax has the edge in that, for
Yes,
sure.
and it's because it can plug into the JMRI.
Right,
So
and
it's a
the
lot more programmable. And I'd say like signaling systems I think would be easier on a Digitrax system to
Digitrax,
get set up.
yes. So for the external, yeah, I definitely agree, Digitrax.
Yeah. So I don't think there's really much debate there. So I'll be able to go through and then I'll do the whole graphic that's got the whole list there.
Oh, yep, yep.
So we
Infographics, I
yeah.
love them.
So final verdict, I don't feel like when you say like versus, there's the expectation that one's gonna
Yeah,
dominate the other.
have the lightsaber battle
We're
of the
gonna just
throttles.
we're
We're
gonna
gonna do
just
the durability test
the
of these
durability
$200
test.
throttles. Yeah. No, we're not gonna do that. This isn't Whistling Diesel. So,
Well, I mean, we could do that with those once you upgrade your system.
right. No, I'm still not gonna do them. They work fine, James.
But anyway, so I don't feel like one absolutely dominates the other. And in fact, I feel like that's a good thing because it means you got two very comparable systems on the market that keep each other competitive.
So, here's one final question from me to you.
Mm.
If you're gonna jump into DCC tomorrow and you've never had it before, but you know what you know, which system are you gonna buy?
Well, I think this it circles back to what is everybody else in the area running because that's practically what's going to happen.
That is very true. Definitely see what your local club is running.
But okay, let's say for the sake of argument that you're a lone wolf in the middle of
Montana.
yeah, let's say you're like Caleb in the middle of Gillette, Wyoming.
There we go.
And
In a coal mine.
you got nobody else to even talk to, let alone figure out how you're compatible with the DCC systems.
Poor Caleb.
Yes. So so between those two, I feel like if I was an island unto myself, I would end up going with the Digitrax system.
And I would agree. I would buy the Digitrax system. I have personal bias. I've used it for, I'm not going to say 20 years because I've only been here for 24. 15 years I've used Digitrax. Still prefer it. I still like it.
But then the question I'd have for you is what would it take for you to end up using, say, NCE? So, like, what conditions or situations would you find yourself in where you go, I just can't really see myself using the Digitrax system?
You know, when I look at it, I don't see why I would use the NCE. Because I'm a big signaling nut. I love the JMRI. I like to do that stuff. And the way that I see it work with Digitrax, once again, I'll probably attribute it to bias because I'm sure NCE has those capabilities as well. I'm always going to side with the Digitrax system.
So Jordan's pretty steadfast on Digitrax. Even though I would give the nod to Digitrax if I was completely isolated, to me I feel like they're so comparable to each other that functionally I can still run with the NCE because that's what other people are doing, and I'm not going to feel disappointed. And part of that, I think, is because, for instance, my current train layout does not use signaling of any kind.
Right. Yeah,
And
they didn't have that in the early 1900s in the middle of nowhere.
At the best, they would have a semaphore, maybe.
Yeah. Highball signal.
That's pretty much it, like a flag that goes up that says there's a passenger here who needs to be picked up. And
Pretty much.
So in that case, it's a little bit more basic requirements out of the system. So I'm a little bit more flexible. I could probably go with, like, dare I say, I could do an MRC, even though I would be swearing at it when it quits working.
Yeah,
But
I've seen enough MRC trouble.
But I could,
MRC Tech 2 DC.
yes, I could in fact run just on that and probably be okay with it. I would have to have a throttle pack on each corner. But
Right. Well, think of the DCC work you would not have to do by doing that.
But I suppose, let me put it to you like this. One idea I was going through in my head, and I got as far as getting parts for, is a DCC++ system.
Mm-hmm.
My layout would work just fine with that, where I got the one engine and the cell phone on my hand, where I'm just throttling it up a little bit, throttling it back down. I can program it so that the thing's not going stupid fast at speed step 28.
Right.
So in that case, like, the NCE is just basically that, but in a much more ergonomic package that you don't have to build yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Digitrax, you're able to do a lot more. So if I wanted to do everything, I'm still going with the Digitrax then.
Right.
And I think that's going to pretty well wrap up the video there.
Yeah,
So,
it got a little long and winded, but, well, you know what we think anyhow. Tonight, what we think. You know, I might get pissed off at my system tomorrow and say, I want NCE now, but...
yeah. Well, and I think that goes to show just how close these two systems are, really.
Right.
Because it's close enough where you're a few bad days away from being like, I just can't work with this thing.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with the NC. If this thing were to completely conk out on me and it just goes dead, assuming I wasn't going to go up to the club to run trains, I would probably just go get a different system.
Mm-hmm.
And my home layout, I don't think I'm even going to go with either of these. I might do the DCC++, or if I can swing the price, I might just get the full ESU system.
It'd be cool to see the ESU out in the field.
In action. It's amazing that we got so many German Americans out here. And
it's yeah, this whole area
and
is
yet
Germany.
Here's Digitrax.
Right.
Made in Florida.
No, you know, they say, is it Volkswagen is Das Auto?
Yeah.
ESU, Das Train, or Das Zug, right?
Yes.
Zug. I think that's
Das
how you
Zug.
say
Something like that. Well, anyway, if you like content like this, please hit that subscribe button and also smash the like button. We'd really appreciate some more views there. Go ahead and share this around to people as well. This is a dead horse topic.
Yes, we really beat it into the ground.
Yes.
And buried it.
Pile drived it like Hulk Hogan, rest in peace.
Yes, and yeah.
But I feel like we could come back in like a year to have the more refreshed systems and maybe compare them with a couple of other systems, and we got ourselves a real video.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, until next time, take care.
Take care.